Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes per details.
Hello to everybody whose mom is a shark, not a robot. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour, one phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi everybody, it's Chris Gethard. And I know not everybody loves an intro, so I like to give you the heads up. This week's is not that long. I'll let you know if you want information on submitting to Beautiful Anonymous magazine, that is in the intro. And also, I would just beg you, consider signing up for beautifulanonymous.com if you want your episodes to be about 20 minutes longer each week. Anyway, if you want to get to the phone call and skip the intro, it's about, I would say, 5.5, 6 minutes this week. Not that long. But if you want to just get right to the phone call, go to about 6 minutes ahead and you'll be good to go. Thanks so much. Hi, everybody. Chris Gethard here. Welcome to another episode of Beautiful Anonymous. You're going to hear a call that is so relaxing, I think at times very funny. There's other stretches where it's laid back on the verge of boring, but never quite boring. And those are some of my favorite calls. Our caller today, I'll explain more in a minute. I'll explain a little bit more in a minute because we talked about so many things. I don't even know what to say. First, I just do want to say thank you to everybody who's been sending in submissions for Beautiful Anonymous, the magazine. We've been getting stuff. It's cool. Random stuff I'm not expecting. It's exciting to go to the P.O. Box. If you want to mail us anything, whether it's a story that you type out, whether it's art you have made, whether it's visuals, whether it's random things, if you can send it to a P.O. Box, send it to us. Send it to Chris Gethard, P.O. Box 972, New Vernon, New Jersey in the house, baby, 07976. That's Chris Gethard, P.O. Box 972, New Vernon, New Jersey, 07976. Also have to say thanks to everybody who has signed up at beautifulanonymous.com. As of this recording, we are up to 700. We've broken 751 people. Thank you so much for everybody who does that. And again, I try not to push it too hard. I will just say the extensions of the episodes are lovely. And then if you're up at the $10 a month tier, you also get the follow-up call, and you get a secret phone number once a month just for people on that tier. And we just recorded a new follow-up. It hasn't come out yet, but it's with the caller that when it came out, everybody was like, we need a follow-up with this one. It was earmarked very heavily from people going, we need a follow-up. It's the caller who used her deceased ex's sperm as the sperm donor for her pregnancy. There were a lot of people going, I got to know how this turns out. You'll be happy to hear it has turned out well. I told the caller I would pass that on at the very least before the paywall. I would let people know there's a lot of happiness, there's a lot of joy, and there's a family now. And if you want to hear more about that, the follow-up, you can get it at the Touchstone tier at beautifulanonymous.com. Also needed to just get something off my chest here. And I know that I am somehow the captain of the Beautiful Anonymous ship as this like white guy nerd from New Jersey. And not everybody, the largest demographics that listen to the show are not that. But I got to tell you, if you're looking for a well-written TV show right now, you're going to think I'm crazy. There's a cartoon on Disney Plus called X-Men 97. And if you remember the old X-Men cartoon from the mid-90s with the theme song, if you remember that, they just brought it back. And they were like, we're just bringing it back. It's not a relaunch. We're just picking up where we left off. The new episodes of this X-Men cartoon show, I'm telling you, It's one of the best shows on television right now. And you're going to say I'm crazy, but if you watch episodes 1 through 5 and you let them build, episode 5 of X-Men 97 is one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. Even if you're not someone who likes cartoons or the X-Men or superhero stuff, it is a strangely emotionally gripping show. It is well written. It's one of the best superhero things I've seen in a long time. I would not say you should watch it with kids. You would be shocked at how adult the themes are. And episode 5 would be traumatic for young people, but I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to tell you, if you're looking for a good, well-written TV show, strangely enough, it is the brought back to life X-Men cartoon on Disney+. I think it might be the best TV show on the air today. And yes, I have been watching Shogun, and I understand that show's brilliant. I think this one's in the conversation. Does that make me crazy? It might. I don't know. Here's what I do know is that we've got a caller on the line who you are going to love hanging out with. And that's what it feels like. It feels like we're hanging out with them as they tell us about some of their adventures working in the restaurant industry, as they talk to us about what it's like to do drugs and watch ridiculous movies, as we hear about movies they haven't seen, as we hear about their dog and all different slices of life. And what's really kind of miraculous about it is that you will hear, and we talk about this in the episode, the caller does have some personal life drama going on, but says, I'd really rather not talk about it. And instead, we kind of talk about every other random thing in a way that weirdly kind of shows us the shape of the stress that she's dealing with. And that's a very real life thing from time to time. I think a lot of people are going to listen to this one and go, this just feels like hanging out with someone laid back, talking about D&D, talking about dogs and central New York and music, just shooting the breeze. It's relaxing. It's interesting. It's very funny at times. And I think you're going to enjoy it.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. One of these days where I'm a little frazzled, but it's just because there's been a bunch of... I'm covering Cal now because Hallie has something to do, and then she's covering him so I can go work, and now we're bouncing back and forth. But that's ultimately that's a very fun, lucky life.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just doing some character work for my D&D campaign.
Oh, you're doing D&D stuff. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my first campaign, and it was brought to my attention last week that all of my numbers were wrong. All of them.
In terms of your attributes, like your charisma, cunning, all this stuff?
Yeah.
How can those be wrong?
Yeah, I'd gotten some stuff kind of goofed up.
You just added up wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, and my proficiencies I labeled kind of funky because I was using D&D Beyond online.
Mm-hmm.
And they had things like partially filled in. Mm. So I was filling things in partially, and then my DM was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're not proficient in all of this.
Oh, so you basically built like a superhuman character that could decimate everybody else? I
guess, but like, what was the one that was like wildly off? Like, my perception's an 8, and everybody's like, how did you get there? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Apparently it's wrong.
How often do you play?
Once a week.
How long you been playing?
Maybe 6 months now. Still my first campaign, so I'm kind of learning as I go.
I love it. And what kind of character did you pick? Ranger?
I'm a
halfling.
I'm a bard, and I'm a wood elf.
A bard and a what?
College of Lore. A wood elf.
A wood elf bard.
Yeah.
That seems pretty interesting.
It's really fun.
And bards are real charmers, right? The tellers of stories, the singers of songs.
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that part when I made my character because I was like, oh, I'm just going to be a silly little lady. But I've had to kind of push myself to be more, I don't know, I guess, entertaining and like outgoing.
Okay.
Which has been a challenge, but very fun.
You generated your numbers online. Do you play online or do you play in person?
No, in person. Yeah, I was just using D&D Beyond before I got my player's handbook to kind of build my character and all that.
Yeah. And how deep do you go? Because I've played a handful of times. Some people kind of phone it in with the role playing. Other people go really hard at the role playing. How much of a character affectation do you take on when you're playing D&D?
Not a whole lot. I am trying to be a little bit more. I'm trying to like immerse myself in it a little bit more. So kind of as time goes on, I'm getting a little bit more, performative and all that. But
Cool.
My group's pretty laid back.
And you're into it. The 6 months. It feels like you're officially like you're not bailing.
No, not at all. I think my character is probably going to die soon because our DM is a real bloodthirsty guy lately, but we'll see.
And how do you handle that? Are you then just stop attending, or do you generate a new character or come back to life? This all depends, obviously, if there's a mage. Oh, new character when people die.
Yeah, he told us a few sessions ago, he was like, you guys might want to start working on backups.
Have you started brainstorming what your
We've
next character is going to be?
I'm not too sure. I think I want to go in the rogue direction.
Oh, sounds cool. And rogues,
try something a little different.
I'm not super familiar with D&D. A rogue and a paladin. A paladin is more of a straight up thief, right? A rogue
I believe so, yeah.
A rogue is just more of a general ne'er-do-well?
Yeah. That's the understanding I've got.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's a real silly party, though. Like, one of the first sessions we did, we went into a tavern, and we were trying to pickpocket somebody. It was a Goliath. And he rolled really poorly on Dex, so he ended up penetrating and starting a brawl for fingering a Goliath.
You said fingering. You fingered the Goliath?
I didn't. One of my party members did, but he was going to pickpocket him, but he rolled really poorly on Dex.
So he kind of slipped up and went knuckle deep in a Goliath?
Sure did.
It's always a bummer when that happens. It's always a bummer.
It's a real silly group. It's a lot of fun, though.
Yeah. I'm glad to see it. Feels like D&D is I've always been adjacent to it because of my love of comic books. And I've played it a few times, and I have some friends who are really into it. And, I do think I've noticed there's a resurgence in the world of D&D. And I can't help but notice it's an activity that is inherently social and inherently collaborative. And these are things that I think people are really aching for right now.
For sure. Especially since COVID, I feel like a lot of people haven't really gotten back into that rhythm.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier to pretend to be like a halfling miner than to just like deal with a real life.
Yeah. It's pretty nice. I get to just kind of fuck off once a week and live a little pretend life with my friends. And it's always a good time.
I love it. And I will talk about it for an hour unless you send the direct conversation elsewhere.
I don't know that I've got an hour's worth of knowledge in me on that one, to be honest.
That's fair. So what else should we talk about then?
Just kind of hanging out with my dog, nursing my knee. I have a really stupid history of knee injuries. And I think I dislocated my kneecap in the pit at Jeff Rosenstock a few weeks ago.
Oh, my old friend Jeff Rosenstock.
Oh, dude, he's my favorite. It was a killer show.
I feel like his audience, it's really beautiful because there's so many young people who keep finding him, but there's also people who have followed him for years, since the days of his old band Bomb the Music Industry. And some of those people now are of an age where, yes, you will strain a tendon in the pit if you try to get out there too hard. We're all getting older.
Yeah. I learned my lesson, I think.
He just passed through Jersey, but I wasn't around to hang out. I was bummed.
Wow, that is a bummer. Yeah, I went and saw him in Buffalo.
Great town. I used
Sydney
to.
Gish and Gladdy.
Yeah, that's a good tour. That's a good tour. Gladdy, first of all, Augusta's so nice. And there's that song, Maybe This Time I'll Win, Maybe This Time I'll Win, Maybe This Time. That was a real heartbreaker right there.
Yeah. I was kind of bummed with, because they did great. Like, they performed great, but the sound, I had a really hard time understanding what she was singing. And I hadn't listened to them before. But after the show, I looked them up and I was like, oh, this is really great.
Yeah, great stuff right there. Great stuff. I'm sorry you hurt your knee rocking out to Jeff Rosenstock.
You know what? Some injuries are worth it.
Yeah.
Unless I need surgery, in which case that might be different. We'll see.
Indeed.
What I do, I've got pretty dumb luck with that sort of thing. I had to get knee surgery in high school because I tore my ACL on the bus.
On the bus?
I fell on the bus.
That stinks. And you tore an ACL. You fell so hard on the bus, you tore an ACL.
The worst part is this is the year that I was also playing soccer, and that's how I did it.
So soccer, no injuries?
None.
Just getting up and down off the bus. Brutal, catastrophic knee injury.
Yeah, I was standing up in front of the seat before the bus driver started moving, and my knees were kind of locked. And when the bus started moving, I just shifted back, and it went right into behind my kneecap.
That stinks.
Pretty shitty.
Yeah.
And then nobody believed that I actually hurt it, so I walked on it for like a year before I got surgery.
A year?
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah, it took my mom like 3 weeks to take me to the doctor because she's like, you just don't want to go to school. You just don't want to go to school. Finally, I go. And they're like, oh, the pain you're describing is not consistent with any injury. It just hurts because you hit it. I'm like, okay. And then like every 6 months or so, I'd go back. Finally, I got an ortho recommendation, and he was like, yeah, you definitely need surgery. So that wasn't the best year, but
yeah,
it did feel pretty good to be like, see, I told you.
Yeah, that's bad. And wait, were you still playing soccer on it?
Oh, no.
You knew you were done.
No, I quit that season. Yeah. Yeah, still never played since, but I wasn't really super into it. I might join an adult league, though, just for fun.
Now, I have a friend whose mom plays in an adult soccer league, and it's shockingly competitive.
Oh, I know. There's one of my friends and I are looking into it. Because in our city, there's a place that does it, like a few different leagues a year. And we're trying to find the one that's like the least talented so that we can fit in a little bit better.
Yeah, that's good. You got to find the
talented
one.
Seems really mean, but
well, it's interesting because adult sports leagues, right? You got some people where it's like, here's where the Division I athletes go to try to relive their past glory, and then some where it's like these are just straight up people are here to hook up and find flings and love, and then you hope you can find something that's a nice middle ground in between.
Yeah, for me, it's just about trying to find more like enjoyable ways to exercise.
Yeah,
because I've been trying to go to the gym, but it feels so it's really hard to get into the habit of it.
Yeah, it's
like
tough.
I do feel better when I'm moving around like that, but I'd rather it be like some sort of activity based.
Now, I tell you, you mentioned that you're at least near Buffalo, and I was just up in Syracuse the other day.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm kind of right in between.
Went up to Syracuse to get in the path of totality for the eclipse.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we had a really cloudy day for the eclipse.
Yeah, we got lucky. It was
We
very
we saw
cloudy.
nothing.
It was super cloudy, and then the clouds parted just as it went to totality, and it was worth the drive. The drive home was bad. Traffic was bad. But I also had a funny moment where after the eclipse, we didn't want to get right into the traffic because we had our son with us. So we said, all right, let's go take him to see Kung Fu Panda 4. We found this movie theater, and when we got there, I pulled into the parking lot of this mall, and I was like, oh, I've been here before because I once performed stand-up at a club in this mall, and it was a rough weekend for me. And it was funny to relive that all these years later.
Oh, I bet. But hey, you got to put kind of more of like a positive memory to it, right?
That's true.
It's pretty cool.
That's true. That's now no longer just the mall where I did some bad stand-up gigs. It's also now the mall where I saw Kung Fu Panda 4, which is more pleasant.
Yeah. I almost saw that a couple weeks ago, but we were too late to get tickets, so I ended up seeing Immaculate instead.
And do you have kids?
No.
You were just checking out Kung Fu Panda 4?
No, me and my sister were just going out to... Yeah, we just thought it'd be fun.
Yeah. No, it's pretty good. Pretty good flick. Cal loved
Immaculate was not... I didn't enjoy it.
Oh, I can't say I know much about it.
It's, that classic movie trope about a mad scientist priest trying to genetically engineer the second coming of Christ. That classic.
Oh, yeah.
story.
Yeah. That's always good. That's always
It
good.
was silly. It was enjoyable to watch, but I don't know. I had a lot of comments.
Now, wait, I'm going to tell you something. I feel like this call is chit-chat, but your vibes are really great, and therefore, it's very enjoyable chit-chat.
Yeah, I'm in kind of an interesting spot right now. I'm just having a real hard time with I don't know, I'm burnt out.
Really?
Been stretching myself a little bit too thin, so I'm trying to just coast today.
I'm actually shocked to hear that because you sound so laid back and so relaxed that I'm finding myself quite relaxed talking to you. So to hear that you're actually burnt out and maybe stressed out, pretty shocked to hear that. What's got you all burnt out?
Just work and not really balancing it too well with the rest of my life. And I'm in the middle of a lot of really weird relationship shit right now, and everything's just kind of weighing on me a little bit.
Anything you want to talk about, or should we leave that one alone?
Probably best to leave that one alone for now.
Okay. Intriguing. I'm sorry to hear that it's stressing you out.
Me too, but that's okay. It'll either work out or it won't. And I'll move on. That's okay.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Yeah. I get.
My dog just put his head in my lap.
Oh, that's nice. What kind of dog?
He's a Shepherd mix.
Shepherd mix. Those are good
Yeah,
dogs.
there's some Australian Shepherd in there. There's a little bit of Border Collie, I think. A little tiny bit of German Shepherd, but not too much. He's pretty little.
Is it the type of dog that if a disco ball is going off, it tries to hurt all the light?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, those are cute dogs.
Yeah, he's a little crazy, but he's my crazy.
How long you had him?
It'll be actually 4 years in May.
Nice.
We got him in 2020.
Yeah, that's a good time to get a dog. It's a good time to look for some distraction, some affection, some unconditional love. I see why one would get a dog in May of 2020.
Yeah. It was honestly the most impulsive thing I've ever done, which I realized impulse pet, not great. But it's been a learning curve for the both of us, and I think we're handling it okay.
That's good.
With the whole isolation, I didn't really socialize him too well when I first got him. So that was a lot harder to deal with later, but made a lot of progress.
Okay. I did a couple shows at an old space in Buffalo called Sugar City. It was an old DIY concert venue that let me do some comedy. And I hold that space
Yeah,
near,
I went to
near and
the
dear to my
breakfast
heart.
one, actually.
You did!
Yeah.
That was a very special show to me. I was going to say, I have very fond feelings towards Buffalo, specifically because of that space and that breakfast show.
That was a great time. And it was perfect for me, too, because I'd seen Mike Birbiglia at Fringe Fest the night before in Rochester. I caught a bus at like 2 a.m. It was a really fun weekend.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of storytelling-based comedy over a 12-hour span.
Yeah. Actually, there's one thing that I regret about that show, and it's that I didn't take a ride home with a stranger.
Oh, you could have gotten a ride home, but you got back on the bus instead?
Yeah, I thought it would have been really fun.
You don't want to get murdered
But I was like,
by...
yeah, I already paid for the ticket.
You don't want to get murdered by somebody who's a Gethard fan, though. You get murdered by somebody who's a fan of emo storytelling? No.
I mean, they didn't seem like murderers, but they never do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't have murdered you. Who knows? Who's to say? Let's pause there. You never know when somebody might murder you or not. What am I talking about? What am I even... Anyway, what am I even talking about? We've got ads, everybody. We'll be right back. If you listen to the show, it's not a shock to you. I deal with depression. I get down sometimes. I deal with anxiety. It's very real for me. It is not a buzzword thing. It's a thing that has had a massive effect on my life. And I also am in therapy and have been for many years. And I know how hard the process of finding a therapist can be because I've been through it. And I have to tell you, Talkspace is our longest standing advertiser. They've been the most supportive people with Beautiful Anonymous. And it means the world to me because they are leading the charge on a new way to find therapy. They're making it easy to find a therapist you like. They're making it convenient to see them. You can do it from your home, wherever you're most comfortable. And it can make a huge difference in your life. Maybe you're somebody who thinks a therapist would be helpful, but you don't have the time to break away from your life to research and meet them and then figure out if you can even afford them. Talkspace, try it. They do everything online. And they make getting the help you want easy, accessible, and affordable. So why wait? Don't wait until you hit rock bottom. Don't wait till something catastrophic happens. Get your therapy in place now so that you have that safety net ready to go. It can help shift your perspective, help you find coping tools, can help guide you, and most importantly, gets you started. And getting started, that's the hardest part and the most important part. Talkspace. Guess what? You can sign up online and you get a personalized match with a provider that's right for you, typically within 48 hours. You can send messages to your therapist so you don't even have to wait for your next session. You can have things on record as they're happening. It's secure. It's private. They use bank-grade encryption technology. It all complies with HIPAA laws. And most importantly, it's affordable. It's also in network with most major insurers. And as a listener of this podcast, you'll get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/beautiful. Enter the promo code SPACE80. Match with a licensed therapist today. Go to Talkspace.com/beautiful. The promo code is SPACE80. You'll get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/beautiful. Promo code SPACE80. I am so happy to be able to tell you about Green Chef right now. Because first of all, they're offering an incredible deal to listeners of the show. And when you hear about that at the end, you're going to go, oh, he was not messing around. Green Chef is making it so easy, and they're doing it the right way. When I say easy, I'm talking about pre-portions. I'm talking about things already prepped. I'm talking about quality whole foods, limited processed ingredients. When I'm talking about doing it the right way, I'm talking about organic, fresh produce, responsibly sourced proteins, and chef-designed recipes in every box. These are satisfying meals, nourishing meals, and convenient meals that make it easy to stick to a clean routine. And there's recipes for every lifestyle: Mediterranean, plant-based, gluten-free, protein-packed, calorie-smart, gut health, pre-portions, Okay, things are already mapped out in a very clear way. Things are already prepped for you. And this allows you to build healthy habits because clean eating is a real priority when it comes to Green Chef. And this is the #1 meal kit for clean eating. Ranked #1 meal kit overall, by the way, not just for clean eating. #1 meal kit overall by U.S. News and World Report. That's no joke. And if you're somebody who eats proteins of the meat variety, 100% sustainably sourced seafood, 100% antibiotic and hormone-free chicken. These are forward-thinking people trying to do it the right way. And every single week, you can choose from 80-plus flavor-packed options and customize your meals. You can build them to suit your lifestyle. You can mix and match meals, by the way. You can have different dietary preferences. If you want some plant-based, some gut and brain health, some Mediterranean, go for it. Green Chef's going big. And they're doing it the right ways. There's also curated market items, by the way. There's protein-packed egg bites. There's grab-and-go oatmeal. There's ways to start your day. There's clean, sweet treats to end the day. April is Earth Month, everybody. Sustainability is core to the Green Chef brand. Green Chef offsets 100% of delivery emissions and 100% of plastic in each box. And they partner with Plastic Bank to collect ocean-bound plastic, pound for pound for every box delivered. It's really awesome. I really like it. I've used it. I'm bad in the kitchen, and every time I make a Green Chef meal, my wife Hallie is psyched, my son Cal is psyched. Go to greenchef.com/stories50. Use code stories50. You'll get 50% off. That's 50, half off, plus 20% off your next 2 months. That's greenchef.com/stories50. Go for it. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. Thanks to all our advertisers. Now let's get back to the phone call.
I mean, they didn't seem like murderers, but they never do, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't have murdered you. Who knows? Who's to say? Now, you can vouch for me. That show, the venue, we sold out the show the night before. The venue was like, hey, can you do another show the next night? I said, well, I got to drive to Detroit and do a show there. Which I think wound up being the night that we taped the Motor City Mayhem live show. Yeah, it was. That was the same tour. But they said, okay, maybe we'll do a breakfast show. And I was like, that's kind of a nuts idea, but I'm into it. So it was 9 a.m., if I remember right. And we promised everybody pancakes. And you can vouch for me. They were working hard with all these hot plates, but it kept bringing the electrical grid down. And it became very clear to people, oh, we might not actually be served the breakfast we were promised. And we all got up at like 7:30 for this dumb comedy show. And the vibes were not great for a big stretch. But then when the pancakes showed up, it was almost like victorious and joyous.
That was pretty great. That was a bit of a roller coaster for sure.
You sensed it though, right? Everybody did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I should do more breakfast shows.
It ended up being great, though. It's still, to this day, one of my favorite comedy shows that I've attended.
Thank you so much. Yeah. For any fans of Beautiful Anonymous who have never seen me do comedy, I put on a pretty good show more often than not. And I would love to see you out at a show someday, just like this caller. That was a fun time. I should only perform before noon. I should try to corner the market on shows that happen before noon. You're out by lunch. Shows where you're out by lunch. That should be my new thing.
That does sound pretty great.
You wake up early, you get a show in, get in a good mood for the day, then you go about your day with the warm afterglow of a show.
I'd go. Might drag all my friends. It's great, too, because people who work nights like me, we often, usually I can't make stuff. It's hard for me to get time off to go to, night shows.
Have you mentioned what you do?
I'm a kitchen manager at a bar.
Kitchen manager at a bar. And what's the shift? What's the start time and end time of a shift at a bar?
It really depends on the day. But normally I'm there for 6 or 8 hours at a time.
Do you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I love my job. I love the people I work with. I love the creativity. I get to be a little bit free. With the specials and stuff. That's a lot of fun. But what sucks is that's one of the things that's kind of fallen to the wayside with how stressed out I've been. So I haven't really been able to enjoy that creativity lately.
Do you, in your management capacity, do you have a sense of who the regulars are that come in? Like, do you start to build a sense of that camaraderie amongst the clients as well as the staff?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've become really good friends with a lot of the regulars. Actually, I went to, I had a concert in Ithaca. I think it was last year. And I waited too long to buy bus tickets back after the show, so I was worried about how I was going to get back and if I would have to find a place to stay and yada, yada, yada. And one of my customers was there. She pulls up her phone, does something on it, and she's like, I just used my credit card points. I got you a room in Ithaca.
Got you a room?
Like, what? She got me a room. What's
really
crazy?
nice.
It was so nice of her.
That's really nice.
We've got some pretty great people that come in.
So usually when you're excited about the job, you'll whip up a special and be like, yeah, that's going to crush. And then you get the exhilaration of seeing whether or not it does.
Yeah, for sure.
And how do you come up with that? Is that based on did you go to culinary school?
I did not. No, this is actually my second cooking job. I was mostly trained in-house. I mean, I guess really my first cooking job, though, because the other job that I left, I started cooking there, and then my boss with the other job was like, oh, you cook now? Here, work. No.
Mm-hmm. And how does coming up with a special work? Like, do you map it out and plan it out and start scheming and then go out and figure out how to make it happen? Or is it more like, hey, we managed to get a crate full of really good butternut squash, so see what you can do with that over the next 2 days?
Sometimes it's like that, but most of the time it's just, somebody will order something a little off menu, and I'll be like, you know what, that would crush. Or I'll make myself or a coworker or something, and it usually starts there. But every once in a while,
it will just be, hey, we managed to get some good broccoli. We got some good broccoli, so we need a broccoli-based special stat.
Yeah. Well, I should do a broccoli salad. That actually sounds really good.
I'm very sorry to hear that the stress of life and the relationship stress that shall remain unnamed is sapping some of the creativity and joy out of your other daily life. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
That's not the healthiest situation.
And I live with my mom, and she's been out of town since January. She's doing the snowbird thing. So I think there's just a weird extra layer of I'm not used to living by myself, and it's kind of weird, and I don't think I like it. So that's been weirdly lonely too. Isn't that right, Pumpkin?
That's a bummer. My relationship is strained and I miss my mom. That's a tough place to be. And my knee hurts on top of it.
Yeah. I know, I keep trying to go to urgent care for it too, but I'm waiting for my new HSA card to show up because my other one just expired. Oh, baby, I know. What are you yelling about, huh? Come on. The pumpkin butt.
You call your dog Pumpkin Butt?
Yeah, he's my little pumpkin butt. Trash man. I actually got a tattoo of the trash man for him.
Wait, of the...
Danny DeVito's trash man.
Danny DeVito played a character called... Oh. Wait, is that from It's Always Sunny? What is that?
Yeah, the wrestling episode.
Right. I remember that.
Oh, my little trash man. We had to move all the garbages in the house because he kept trying to get into them. No matter what we did.
And I need to be clear because you said it very offhandedly. You have a tattoo of Danny DeVito dressed in a wrestling singlet on your body?
Fuck yeah. I also have Jane Lynch's name on my ass.
Jane
I feel
Lynch,
like life's too short not to get the Philly tattoo.
Jane Lynch, of course, the actor, who I probably most associate with Christopher Guest movies and Just like a
Exactly,
wickedly
yeah.
funny, straight-faced actor.
She's so good. Catherine O'Hara is going on the other cheek.
Wait, you have the words Jane Lynch
I'm
on
going
one ass
to. I
cheek?
don't.
You're going to get Did Jane Lynch sign your ass, or you just got the words Jane Lynch on your ass?
No, I just got it. Like the heart and the banner, real traditional style.
So there's a heart and a banner, and it just says Jane Lynch on your left or your right ass cheek.
Right.
And then on the left, matching style, but it's going to say Catherine O'Hara.
Uh-huh.
So you just have a real affinity for older by Hollywood standards actresses with an improv comedy background, to the point where you get their names tattooed on your ass.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I grew up watching Christopher Guest movies. I don't know why I remember this specifically, but actually when I came back from the Buffalo show, it was like 2 p.m. and all I wanted to do was watch A Mighty Wind. So I sat on the couch when I got back to the city and I just watched Mighty Wind. I bought it on Amazon or whatever. But yeah, my parents were real big Christopher Guest fans. My dad especially.
That's a really amazing series of tattoos. Where is the Danny DeVito dressed in wrestling gear on your body?
It's on my thigh.
That's on your thigh.
Yeah.
And then the word.
Yeah, my artist was really excited about that one.
Did you bring in like a still from the show and say, I want this on my thigh?
No, I just texted him and I said, hey, I want a trash man tattoo. And he drew it up and it was perfect on the first try. Dude, it's real cartoony. But you can definitely, you look at it and you know what you're looking at.
Damn. Now, can I ask a sensitive question?
Sure.
When you are at the start of a romantic relationship and eventually someone sees you naked, they notice that there's words on your ass. Do you explain first before you take your pants off, or do you let them lean in and ask you, does that say Jane Lynch?
Usually they already know about it.
Got it.
Because it does kind of poke out a little bit. So if we've gone to the beach or anything, it's not the shorts are short enough you can kind of see it. It's not super hard to see, I guess. But also I just think it's really funny. So I usually tell people about it anyways. If Jane Lynch comes up, so does that.
Now, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic here, and I'm sincerely not trying to pry, but I know that for me, when I've been in situations where I've been dating someone and it ends, it's always really rough. And one of the tough parts is, if you're someone who enjoys being in a relationship, you sit here and go, I don't want to get back into the dating pool again, where I have to explain me and I have to charm people, and I also have to tell them about all my particular quirks that someone else had already known. I thought we were done with this. When you're at the beginning of a dating situation, I know you just said, if we go to the beach together, this and that, but the more ridiculous tattoos you have, the more explaining you do have to do, right? The more times you have to have this conversation.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I feel like it's not usually too big a topic of conversation. It's usually oh, that tracks. That makes sense.
So people who have gotten to know you enough to ask you out, part of what they like is the part of you that also has an image of Danny DeVito tattooed on your body.
It better be.
Boom. Boom. Any other notable tattoos I should know about?
Actually, we've talked about, I got a Crying at the Wawa tattoo. We've talked about that before.
Oh, my song with Mal Blum, my friend Mal Blum.
Yeah.
That's nice. That one must take a lot of explaining.
Couple Arrested Development. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I used to babysit, and kids would always be like, why is the poop blue? It's the Slurpee. That was always fun.
And Arrested Development tattoo. So you're like a true comedy nerd.
Oh, yeah.
You're covered in comedy-related
actually,
tattoos.
one of them. Yeah. One of the Arrested Development ones I got right after Jessica Walter died. Actually, I like saw that and I texted my artist like, all right, pull out the flashboard. I need the Gangi piece.
Now, comedy's clearly a pretty deep part of your life if you're getting tattoos about It's Always Sunny and Arrested Development, let alone a deep cut to my level. What if there comes a time in life where you're like, comedy used to be my thing. It's not really as much my thing anymore. What if your interests evolve and change?
I mean, that's kind of how it goes, though, isn't it? I mean, I don't really see comedy going anywhere in my life, but I also kind of come to terms with, when I'm getting the tattoo, the possibility of aging out of it, so to speak. But so far, it hasn't happened yet. But the way I see it, if it meant something, like if it meant that much to me at one time, how could I be mad at it,
Sure. I love it.
That might also change, but for now, it's just fun. I think the next piece I'm going to get is going to be Gamera.
From
Are you familiar with Gamera at all?
wait, Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Mm-mm. No, he's like it was made in the 60s to kind of like compete with Godzilla.
Oh, I was going to say.
He's a giant rocket turtle.
And it wasn't,
and
wasn't
he fights kaiju.
It was a big, wasn't this like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 type? Or no? Might be wrong.
Maybe. I don't know. But they made a bunch of them. There's like a handful from the 60s, and there was kind of like a resurgence. There's some other movies that they made in like late 2010s, but they're really solid. They're great.
That's awesome. We're a big Godzilla house.
Yeah.
Every member of my family loves Godzilla. And I thought that
hell yeah.
that Godzilla -1 movie, did you catch that?
I haven't yet, no, but I want to.
Great goddamn Godzilla movie. Great, fun, surprisingly moments of meaning and emotion. Great flick.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Me and one of my friends do these like acid movie nights every few months. We'll just take a couple of tabs and then sit down and watch like whatever predetermined movies we've already decided on. And I think the next one's either going to be Godzilla or Gamera.
That's bold.
The only Godzilla movie I've ever seen is Shin Godzilla.
Now, I've never done acid in my life. I always felt like with my mental instability that it was best not to dabble. But I know that it's a more standard thing for people growing up now to have hallucinogens as a presence in their life at some point. I still think dropping acid and watching Godzilla, that's a bold choice.
Pretty fun. We did the Sharknado series the first time we did this, and then ever since then we just kind of try and pick like ridiculous. Like there's been movies suggested, and we're like, no, that budget is way too high.
You dropped acid and watched Sharknado.
Definitely, oh yeah, all 6.
All of them?
The 7th one is like a making of, and we didn't watch that.
Not in one sitting.
Yeah.
You dropped acid and watched 6 Sharknado movies back to back to back to back to back to back?
Yes.
That's asking for trouble.
Oh, it's great. It's so fun. It honestly changed the way that I watch movies, because for most of my life I hated movies because I felt like I didn't have the attention span for them. But I started kind of watching them differently a little bit and like engaging with it a little bit more, I guess. And that honestly changed the way I watch movies completely.
Wait, so that's
and I
what?
like them now.
That's like a
It's
solid.
pretty cool.
That's like a solid 12 hours of Sharknado.
Oh yeah, at least.
And
well, no, because I think they're like sci-fi movies, aren't they? So I think they do cap out at 2 hours.
So let's say 10 to 12 hours total with stretching and bathroom breaks. How long does the acid trip last?
about that long. And then by the time the movies are done, it's time to go to bed. Normally we do it on Friday nights.
So you stay up all night, overnight, watching. I mean, Sharknado is like a lovably and knowingly like cheeseball movie.
Oh, yeah. And that's kind of the theme that we tend to go with. Like, the next time we watched movies, we did Ice Spiders and Lavalantulas. I was actually kind of bummed out with Ice Spiders because it said Vanessa Williams in the credits, but it's not that Vanessa Williams. Really thought it was. Yeah, we do it every few months. We'll just pick some movies. We were going to do Fast and Furious Christmas and watch them all in chronological order, but that definitely would have been like a 2-day thing in parts.
That's a wild choice. Are you someone who dabbles with drugs much beyond this, or is it exclusively while watching Sharknado?
I mean, pretty much that. I mean, when I was a teenager, I was a fan of mushrooms, but now I just kind of smoke weed. That's really it, aside from the movie nights.
Damn.
It's pretty tight. It's really fun.
Sounds pretty all right. Sounds pretty all right to me.
And that's how Sharknado changed my life a little bit.
Now, do you, because people, there's people who talk about doing hallucinogens as this life-changing thing, and you're making a joke that it did, but do you feel like on any level, dropping acid and watching 6 Sharknado movies in a row did change your life?
Maybe a little bit, at least just in terms of like, because I think that night is really what changed the way that I kind of look at movies. Because I just had this weird like black and white idea of it for so long. Of like, just sit down, shut up, watch. And that was never fun for me. But then watching these movies, we were kind of just, I don't know, it was just silly and goofy and fun, and it made me realize that I don't know, movies aren't dumb, I guess. Like, I don't know. But that's been pretty great, except now when people tell me that, when people get surprised that I've never seen certain movies, I started a list of movies that people get mad that I haven't seen. That was my biggest mistake. That list is never going to stop.
Can I ask, what are some of the movies on the list that make people most angry?
Oh, let's see. Goonies, for sure.
Come on!
But I feel like, I know, but hear me out. So I didn't watch it when I was little, and then by the time I was older, I felt like it kind of missed the boat. I felt like it wasn't for me anymore, which might be silly, but
I would argue otherwise. I think Goonies is one of those movies that's pretty magical in that when you watch it as a kid, you feel like, yes, I want to go on an adventure right now. And when you watch it, when you're on the other side of childhood, you sit there and you go, man, the lens that kids look at the world through is magical. And I remember feeling like the world had the potential for these hidden pockets of adventure that might spring up at any time. I remember the joy of being young and thinking that was possible. Goonies is simultaneously for kids, but also simultaneously about childhood in a way that's really satisfying as an adult. And I imagine that if you take a bunch of ketamine, it's even better. I've never taken ketamine and I cannot endorse it. It was just a joke, everybody. A little callback. Let's pause there, everybody. I do not endorse ketamine. I've never done it. Some people swear by it. Other people say it is a nightmare. I'm not pushing ketamine. What I am pushing is the following products and services that are kindly advertising on our show. Check out the ads. Use the promo codes. We'll be right back. I am so happy to tell you about the Skylight Calendar. It is a product that I use actively. As soon as I set it up, I said, this one's a game changer. And I think it could be a game changer for you too. It's also a perfect gift, especially if you're looking for a Mother's Day gift and you have a mom in your life who's busy, who's always fighting to get more organized. We all know that's a factor out there. And we all know moms who work really hard. You want to give a mom in your life some peace of mind on Mother's Day? Go ahead, get the Skylight calendar. And for a limited time, our listeners get 15% off. I got to go ahead and just tell you, my personal experience is it's a digital calendar. I have it set up on my desk. It's large enough for me to see across the room. I can see the date, the time. There's also a rolling red bar that scrolls throughout the day so I can see appointments as they're getting closer. I can see it for 4 days at a time. There's also a section where I can list chores, photos. I can make to-do lists. I can scroll between them in an easy fashion. So it's effectively, I often have sat here and said, I wish that I had an old school calendar so I didn't have to stare into my phone so much and keep going back to the phone. But those things are hard to maintain. And we all know that means you got to put appointments in on your devices and then you got to write them in by. No. This thing takes all your calendars and it automatically updates them on this thing you can have mounted on your wall in front of you. And you can have the best of the old school style we used to think about, we used to have, while also all the technology of the new school style laid out in front of us. It's so cool and forward thinking. It's going to help your productivity. It's going to help you focus on the things that matter and not have to go to 9 different apps and devices to sort out what you have to do in your day next. It's such a game changer. And none of this has been the talking points, by the way. This is all coming right from me. And you can hear that I am for real about it. And like I said before, you might be a mom. You definitely know a mom. One of these people gives 110% every day. Somebody who runs themselves ragged, maintaining a household, keeping organized, and also trying to live their own life. The Skylight calendar will make people feel seen. It will make people's lives easier. You can get it as a gift for the moms in your life. Remove some of the chaos. Remove some of the stress. It's such a good personal organizer device. I'm actually honestly shocked nobody has thought about applying modern technology in this way that feels like it brings all the best of the old school back to life. It's so good. It's so good. Check out the Skylight calendar. The Skylight calendar is a smart touchscreen calendar and organizer for all your chores, groceries, to-do lists. It's a great way to manage appointments, to make sure they never overlap, to make sure nothing gets missed. Helps keep busy households on track and everyone on the same page so families can get back time for moments that matter. No more cluttered pieces of paper all over the desk. No worrying that somebody's forgotten something. No getting constant dings and reminders from all the different apps. It's so easy to set up and use. I set it up in honestly about 5 minutes myself, and it syncs all your existing family calendars. You can send Google, Apple, Outlook to it. You can add events directly using the touchscreen on the device itself or the Skylight mobile app, which is free. And everything that gets updated on different devices automatically appears. It's really smart. There's 2 sizes, the 10-inch or the 15-inch. The 15-inch is the one you can mount that right on the wall. It can be mounted on the wall. Keep it out of the way. You'll see it from anywhere. It's really great. It's just a good thing. It's within a day or two of setting it up, I was like, ooh, this is removing stress from my life and increasing my ability to just stay focused and productive. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If you don't love your Skylight calendar, you'll receive a full refund. And there's a 120-day money-back guarantee, by the way, and free returns. As a special limited time offer for our listeners, you get 15% off your purchase of Skylight calendar when you go to skylightcal.com/stories. That's SKYLIGHTCAL.com/stories. Mother's Day is coming right up. This is an amazing Mother's Day gift. So order today. You get 15% off your purchase. That's at skylightcal.com/stories. And you guys can hear, I got this thing. I flipped out. It's helping me so much already. I'm going off book, baby. This is not in the copy. It's legit. This thing's for real. So helpful. If you need to stay focused, organized, keep your eye on the prize when it comes to your productivity, Skylight calendar, can't go wrong. It's awesome. Thanks again to all of our advertisers. Now we're going to finish off the phone call. I've never taken ketamine and I cannot endorse it. It was just a joke, everybody. A little callback.
Yeah, I've never done it on purpose.
Ketamine?
Back in the days where I did I used to mess around with coke sometimes, and
Well, you work in the restaurant industry, of course.
yeah, it was way before then, honestly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm pretty glad that it was, because I don't think that would have gone well at all. But one of the line items on this movie on the list is just John Cusack movies, which really upsets people.
So many of my favorite movies are John Cusack movies.
I showed one of my friends the list, and he was like, "You've never seen any John Cusack movies?" And I was like, "No, I saw Constantine." He's like, "That's not John Cusack." Jaws is on there. Better Off Dead is on there.
Well, yeah,
There's some real weird ones.
Yeah, Better Off Dead is
even surprising me that I haven't seen.
Andrea's now typing in the document, Better Off Dead is the best John Cusack movie. I think Grosse Point Blank, while not one of his 80s classics, that's my favorite movie. And Say Anything is ultimately, from the modern perspective, rom-coms we used to buy into in a way that we don't anymore. Say Anything is one of those rom-coms that's ultimately about a woman being stalked by a teenage boy, but it's a pretty charming flick. It's a pretty charming flick.
Yeah. Interesting. Maybe that's what I'll do tonight after I come home from D&D. Pick a movie from the list.
I mean, it's got to be Goonies.
There's plenty.
It's got to be Goonies based off of those. You'll love it. And if you're in a sort of sad mood, that movie is all about, hey, life can be magical sometimes. Every once in a while, you stumble into a situation that's actual magic, and you get to be at the heart of the adventure. If you're someone who likes D&D, Goonies is almost a spiritually connected to D&D kid type movie.
Okay. See, when you put it like that, I feel a little bit more inclined.
You will like it. Andrea's saying she's going to watch Goonies tonight. I have an obligation, but if I get home and can stay up, maybe I'll watch Goonies tonight.
And we'll have our own little completely separate watch party.
Yeah, I would love that. Love that. I have a Goonies t-shirt. My friend Will Hines gave me a Goonies t-shirt because he thinks my personality is so tied in with some of the Goonies attitude.
Okay. I'm wearing a Twilight t-shirt right now.
I've never seen Twilight. I've never seen any of them. Never read any of the
they're
books.
They're terrible, but they're great.
And what substances
I read the
were you on
book.
when
They
you saw
came out
those?
when I was in middle school. I don't think anything.
Okay.
Maybe
That's
a
fair.
bowl or two, but I watched those with my sister, and she and I never dabbled in other stuff together. So, but actually, for the eclipse, I wore my Twilight shirt to work, and then we posted on the Instagram story for the bar, like, "Oops, wrong eclipse. Come on down."
And the area you were you in the Path of Totality?
Yeah.
Did you have tourists
Yeah,
coming
my
up?
town got a bunch of tourists. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the bar is like right next to a hotel and a big museum, like a really popular museum. So we got a lot of foot traffic.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. So D&D tonight.
It was really fun to see, like, yeah.
It was really fun to see what?
Just like how far people had come to come and watch the eclipse with us. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I felt
surprising. Like I knew we were going to get a lot of people, but I don't think we were going to get that many.
We were up in Syracuse. It was really slammed. My wife was so excited, and she's a real environmentalist in a big way. She had Cal all excited, and I was like, this is cool. Yeah, we can go do this. That was my attitude. But I must admit, it was pretty amazing to experience not just the eclipse itself, but everybody on the ground like cheering and flipping out at it. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was. Even though like we didn't really get much visibility just because of the clouds, but it was really, really cool to be out there with everybody when it got dark.
Yeah. Shared humanity. Shared moments of humanity. Simple shared moments of humanity.
Yeah. Did you read that there was like a clickbait, well, not clickbait, but like an article that I saw about a teacher who in the 70s, I think, was telling his students every year, all of his classes, that he was going to host a watch party for the solar eclipse when there was totality. And he actually did it. And he had like over 100 former students show up to his house. I thought that was really cool.
I didn't catch that one.
That made me really happy to read about.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it was pretty local to me. So I think that might have been why it was so like, obvious to me, why I found it so easily, but it was really cool.
You know why I like this phone call?
Why?
Because this feels like the exact conversation you and I would have if we met in person. Zero difference.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Yeah, because it seems like we're into some similar things. Although I'm not one to drop acid myself. I've always been too scared. Should I get over it? Is it something that is a positive?
I mean, it affects everybody differently. I think it's worth trying, but if you don't feel good about it, you know what I mean, then it might not go the best, because it's very like, I don't know, I don't do it if I've had like a bad day or I'm in a weird mindset or, so if you've got any kind of like hesitance around it, I might not, but.
I mean, I'm always in a weird mindset, so maybe not. Maybe not for me.
That's fair. Yeah, and the next day to come down I find to be really, really rough.
In what sense?
Like I'm very sad usually.
Yeah.
I'm like really easily irritable.
I did MDMA a couple times, and I found that the depression in the days afterwards outweighed how fun it was in the moment. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I'd say that acid outweighs it for me, but it's definitely very significant. And I've always got to like just plan not to do anything that next day. Yeah. Take that time to kind of recharge. And would you say overall you're a happy person?
I would say I feel big. So when I'm happy, I'm really happy. But when I'm not, it's really not. But overall, I think so.
Okay. It's a fair answer.
I think I am.
Do you have any major goals that are on the checklist, or are you like, nope, I'm living a life I love and I'm comfortable with?
I think I want to try to pursue some sort of comedy again. I've done a couple of open mics, mostly when I go out of town. Like a few times I went to New York and I did stuff at UCB, and it was a lot of fun. But I haven't done anything with that in a long time, but I'm still writing the jokes. So I think I want to try and push myself to be a little bit more vulnerable with that.
You got to get so big that someone tattoos your name on their ass.
That's the goal, you know? You can only hope.
Have you met Jane Lynch? Does Jane Lynch know that someone's out there with her name tattooed on their ass?
I do not know. I have never met her. I can't remember. I know I thought about like posting it on Twitter and tagging her in it, but I don't think I ultimately did that.
If you did meet her, would you say, I have something I should probably show you? Or would you just let it go?
Oh, absolutely. I'd want to get a picture of her with the tattoo exposed. Like a picture with her and her name.
How quick do you think you would go from like, oh, excuse me, you're Jane Lynch, right? To, here's my ass, check this out.
Instant. I might even open with, here's my ass, check this out. And then I'd get too excited if I saw her, and then I'd have to backtrack and be like, I'm so sorry. My name is blank. This is probably insane, but.
And now, When are we getting the Catherine O'Hara one?
Probably after the Gamera one. But I'm waiting to get the Gamera one because I had a friend that passed away in December. And so me and a couple of other friends are going to get a tattoo in her memory. So that one's got to be the next one.
And
so there's a couple in line first.
First of all, I'm sorry for your loss. Can I ask how this kaiju monster is tied in with her and her impact on your life?
Oh, no, that one's not for her.
Oh, I thought you were saying that the Gamera one was in relation to your deceased friends.
No,
okay.
No, that one is going to come after. But she had a pretty long battle with. She was sick for a while. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I know it started with like surgery complications. And she had it real rough for a while, but she was like easily the happiest person, the most bubbly, the most loving, like that I've ever met, ever. So we're going to get love like, and then her name in her handwriting.
Wow.
Because I think that's a good reminder.
So that first. And what part of your body is that going on?
I'm going to get it on my hand because she had a tattoo on her hand with lyrics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then what part of your body will Gamera go on?
Probably the inside of my arm. I'm trying to I'm very loosely working towards a sleeve right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be a nice way to kind of tie some of it together.
And then Catherine O'Hara's name on your other ass cheek after that.
Yeah.
I feel like
and then I have like Roman numeral 2 tattooed on me, so I also want to get eyebrows above that for Eugene Levy. Like eyebrows.
Well done. Well done. I also want to speak this into existence. I hope that at some point you meet Catherine O'Hara and get her actual signature so that can be tattooed on your ass.
That would be amazing.
Would you let her sign, like we could put it on a napkin or a piece of paper, or would you let her sign your ass direct?
That's tricky. Because I can't really, I guess I could look at my ass, but it wouldn't be that easy. I honestly don't know. I think it could go either way. If I don't have anything on me when I meet her, then it's definitely going to be my ass.
I love it. I love it. This call has put me in a very giggly mood, and I hope that it's improved your day as well.
It has. It was funny. I was texting my one friend. We text each other every time the number comes out. And we're like, oh, I'm on hold. Oh, I got disconnected. And I was texting with him today. I was like, I'm on hold, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to hang up. Like, I don't think I'm going to get on today. And then Andrea picked up and I was like, oh, shit.
Look at that.
Okay.
Look at that. I like how that goes sometimes.
I know. It's pretty great. It was a nice little distraction for me today.
Well, it sounds like you needed it, so I'm happy to provide. We're coming up on the end of our free call, or not free call, but the call for the free feed, and soon we'll switch to the bonus content, which is 5 random questions where we get to know more about you. Usually it's very nice because callers tend to call in with very focused stories, and we focus on that for the hour. And then it's like, here's 5 other random things. But this call has been defined by utter randomness already.
Yeah, at first I did think I was going to talk about the relationship stuff, but then I didn't want anybody involved to hear it, and it just didn't seem appropriate.
Well, I tell you, there's the whole concept of, negative space, which comes up a lot in art
and whatnot.
And whatever the relationship is, I can hear that it's bumming you out. And I think all of us can fill in a lot of blanks and hear that, you know, it's an open wound. So no worries on that.
Much appreciated.
We've got just a couple minutes left for the people on the free feed. Anything you want to say to them in particular before we go?
Watch Sharknado back to back.
Is that genuinely
Back
something
to
you
back
think?
to back.
Are there any Sharknadoes that you're like, number 4 kind of didn't hold up to the bar set by the rest of the series, or are they consistent?
Pretty consistent. 2 was the best. I remember 2 being the best. It had a lot of like really solid one-liners. It was that one I enjoyed the most. My favorite being, what was it? This little kid, he's like, "You're not my mom. You're or like, my mom's a shark, not a robot," or something stupid like that. And now I feel very silly because I do not believe that I'm quoting it correctly, but it was great.
So if you're only going to watch one Sharknado film, make it the second Sharknado film. You've also seen all 6 Sharknadoes and never Goonies. That is... If you weren't so goddamn charming, I'd say it's unforgivable, but you are, so I forgive you.
Yeah, there's some, a lot of them in there. People react like that, so I get it. The list is honestly third. It stresses me out to look at.
Andrea's telling me that the quote in question is, "That's not my mother. My mother's a shark, not a robot."
Yeah.
I have to imagine that when you're peaking on an acid trip and someone says that, you must feel like you've escaped our plane of reality and you're somewhere else.
100%. I think my favorite, though, was from Ice Spiders. They're trying to trap these like giant genetically engineered spiders that were like made to kill. They're trying to trap them to kill him. He's like, "You lay the pipe, I'll deliver the spiders." And then it cuts to the next scene and it's like a combat scene and it's like, "Get some!" And it's so serious. It's so good. It's so absurd.
What an amazing note to end the call. And I have to say goodbye to everybody on the free feed. We're going to continue for a few more minutes for everybody who subscribes over at beautifulanonymous.com. And caller, this has been some of the most laid back and relaxing chit chat I've had in a long time. And I really thank you for it.
Happy to provide.
Watch Sharknado 2, everybody. On acid or not, that's the high point of the series.
100%.
Caller, thank you so much. It was a joy to hang out with you, and I really feel like we were hanging out for that hour. And I say it in the bonus content, but I feel like you and I would probably be friends if we met, and I mean that. Thanks for hanging out with me. And thank you to the High Priestess Andrea Quinn for hanging out with me. Thank you to Shellshag for the theme music. If you want to know more about what's going on with me, go to chrisgeth.com. That includes my live shows that are always upcoming. If you have a story you wanted on the show, but our taping times don't work for you, 973-306-4676. Especially if you come from a life experience or a background that you feel is not represented on the show, we're ready to rock. Let us know. We want this to be a home for everybody's stories. 973-306-4676. That's the voicemail line. And you can follow the show on Instagram at Beautiful Anonymous Pod and join the Facebook group. It's called Beautiful Anonymous, the community. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions. Cocoa Krispies or Cocoa Pebbles?
Pebbles.
Pebbles. Why?
That
was the most amazing bark a dog has ever done on the history of Beautiful Anonymous. I've never heard a dog bark more cartoonishly like a dog bark Then that Andrea just typed, it's almost like that dog said bark, bark. Like it sounded like English, like a dog shouting the word bark. It was honestly a cartoon bark that we all just got to hear. That was amazing. Anyway, you were saying Pebbles. Why Pebbles?
I tend to steer away from most chocolate cereal because in elementary school, my brother bought, and I'm not exaggerating, 12 dozen boxes of Count Chocula. And now just the smell of chocolate cereal kind of makes me sick to my stomach.
How did he get his hand on 12? Not 12 boxes, 12 sets of 12. 12 dozen.
Yeah.
144 boxes of Count Chocula. Why? Why would one do that? Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes per details.